So, welcome everyone to the AI Social Video News live stream. I do this live stream every Thursday, and the purpose of this live stream is to give you the news related to AI and social video marketing. So, video marketing on any social media platforms. The news is moving fast. There's always a lot of different news every single week to share with you. Sometimes it's news related to features and developments that Meta or YouTube has come out with related to AI and how we use their platforms, different ways that they're integrating AI features within those platforms. But today I have something to share with you that is related to AI and video in general. Oh, interesting. Okay. It's one of those days where my browser decided to pop over to my other monitor. Okay, so let me get set up again here. Okay, so specifically what I have to share with you today is about an article that was released yesterday by The Atlantic. The Atlantic is a website. It's called theatlantic.com, and it's also a magazine that's available in the US. And they do some really great investigations of all topics, but they have specifically released an article yesterday that's related to AI companies scraping videos by creators on YouTube as well as other social media platforms and using those videos to train their AI models and not asking permission. So, taking the videos and not asking permission at all, whether they can use these videos for training their AI models. So there was an article that came out about a year ago that was published by 404 Media. And in that article, they talked about Runway AI was using YouTube videos to train its Runway AI model. And this was big news when it first came out. It got picked up by lots of other publications. And the way that this information came out is a former employee of Runway AI had released the information to 404 Media during 404 Media's investigation. But what's new today with The Atlantic is that they have done their own investigation even further than the 404 Media investigation. And the title of the article, which I encourage you to read, it's available through the Atlantic website, but you do have to have a subscription. But I'm going to discuss what's in that article today. So keep watching because there's a lot of really interesting information. And really, the question that arises from this article is whether or not YouTube creators are facing an existential threat from AI. The title of the article is AI is Coming for YouTube Creators. At least 15 million videos have been snatched by tech companies. And so in the article, the writer breaks down all of the ways that AI companies have been using creators' videos without their permission. Now, when the Runway expose came out, what was discovered is the spreadsheet that was being used by Runway AI. They had created a spreadsheet with about 3,000 creators, and they had keywords, so meta keywords, so that they could find the best videos on YouTube. So, like, great cinematic shots or amazing car scenes, car footage, and different meta tags like that, so that they would know when they're pulling these videos off of YouTube that those particular videos would be useful in training their AI models. Now, what The Atlantic has done, they've created an entire hub on their website called the AI Watchdog. And within that AI Watchdog site, you can go in there and you can search the database. This is the database that has come from that Runway AI spreadsheet. and you can type in a creator's name. Type in, if you're a creator, you can type in your creator name and see if anything comes up. I recommend using a couple different keywords for your channel. But this is now public information. Now, the caveat, to be very clear, while this information that was gathered by Runway AI is now available in a publicly searchable database, just because a creator is in that database doesn't mean that an AI company actually used their videos for training. It just means that the company Runway had collected the data. And so that's just another way of saying they were doing their own research, and it is very unclear which videos they actually use from YouTube. But in the article, it goes even further, talking about all the ways that other companies such as Meta and Microsoft and Amazon, TikTok, all of these companies are using creators' videos and not giving them permission, and Google as well. And so this is a real question of how ethical is this, that these companies are allowing their employees to start scraping videos and not alerting the creators in advance. So how is this going to be helpful to creators? So it seems like what's happening with these tech companies is they're really taking a mentality of, this is the Wild West. AI development, we're in the Wild West. And so instead of asking for permission, they're going to steal creators' work, and they're going to ask for permission later. They're going to take the risk that either creators don't find out that their videos are being used to train their AI models, or they're going to take the risk that the courts, if there is a case that ends up in the court, that the courts are going to side with the tech companies. So this seems to be the attitude by these tech companies. And then that raises the question of, how do creators react to this? Now, I do know that there are licensing companies creators can go to. I know people working with these companies, and if you want, I can put the information in the description. One of them is called Trovio, and you can license your content to Trovio, and you can get paid for licensing your content. And then Trovio is like the middleman, and they'll handle licensing your company to these tech companies. But the issue is that this has been happening for like at least a year. It's been happening probably about 2 years now. These tech companies have been taking this brazen attitude, including Google, of breaking the YouTube's terms of service and using these creators' videos and not telling them at all. So within the YouTube terms of service, it does say that creators own the copyright to their videos. You can't use the creators' videos for profit, for your own purpose. But yet that is exactly what Google is doing, and Google didn't seem to care at all. Okay, so let's go through this article a little bit. I just want to read some parts of it. Okay, so as I mentioned, the tech companies are really just hoping that the courts side with them. And what they are doing is they're hoping that the argument of fair use is good enough for the courts to side with them. So there's a part in the article here. Let me just find it. So this is from the Atlantic. It says unauthorized copying or distribution of those videos is illegal, but whether AI training constitutes a form of copying or distribution is still a question being debated in many ongoing lawsuits. Tech companies have argued that training is a fair use of copyrighted work, and some judges have disagreed with their responses. So, how the courts ultimately apply the law to this novel technology could have massive consequences for creators' motivations to post their work on YouTube and similar platforms. If tech companies are able to continue taking creators' work to build AI products that compete with them, then creators may have little to no choice but to stop sharing. So what do you all think of this? If you think, well, there's nothing we can do, these companies are just going to be taking our work and using that work once these AI models are trained to create videos that simulate the type of work that we're creating, then do YouTube creators become obsolete? That is the really big question right now. And will YouTube creators or any video creators stay motivated to keep creating, even though AI models are competing with the type of creations that they're making on a daily basis with their time and energy? So that is something to really think about. And I think that it is a really interesting time, a super fascinating time with technology and with video marketing and video production in particular. And one of the questions raised in the Atlantic article as well is about the idea that this existential threat, it goes beyond just creators putting their videos on social media, because what is going to happen in the very near future, what is going to happen in the very near future is that these chat, let me say that again one more time. I can't get my words out right now. So, what is going to happen in the very near future is that generative AI chatbots are going to be able to create videos just based on a text prompt. So, that is coming in the future. None of these companies have talked about that, but of course, that is something that would be of interest for them to develop. So, in other words, if you were to go into ChatGPT or Google Gemini or any chatbot that you use, you could type in how to build a table. And then that chatbot is going to send you a video within minutes that's a how-to video that is really tailored to your specifications. So your prompt can tell it, okay, this is the type of table that I'm building. This is exactly what I want to learn how to create. And then you have a how-to video. So you no longer need to go to YouTube to actually search for videos. So it raises a big question of, how much longer do YouTube creators have to be relevant, and video creators in general? And I think this is particularly a threat to how-to creators, myself included. I don't think that vloggers or people making highly entertaining videos, they might not be in such a big space where they're competing with what is going to be generative AI how-to videos. Because when I think about it, and think about your own experience, when you watch a YouTube video, a lot of the times you are watching it for information, but you're subscribing to a channel or you're continuing to watch a video because it's entertaining, because you like the personality of the creator. So the question is, can these generative AI chatbots like ChatGPT and Google Gemini, can they create entertaining videos so that people don't even need to go to YouTube to find what they're looking for, or to continue to watch YouTube creators' videos? Now, it also raises the question, this is like getting very deep into the thinking here. It raises the question of, why would Google want to do that? Why would they want to have text to prompt videos where you could instantly have a how-to video created tailored to your specifications, when that could potentially make YouTube creators obsolete? And that's a big part of Google's business model, being that Google is the owner of YouTube. But I think it's going to come down to the vision of the CEO and the vision of these engineers as well as the supply and demand. How much do people want these videos? Because at least for the time being, in the near future, if we do see these chatbots able to make these how-to videos just based on a text prompt, that is going to be a pay for play feature, because the text to video features are now, you have to have an upgraded pro plan to be able to create text to video, because it's very energy inducive. It takes a lot of energy, data energy I'm talking about, the servers at these AI companies. So the companies, obviously, they have to charge so that users can create these videos. Otherwise, it would just be an enormous amount of energy with everybody creating them. So that leaves an opportunity for YouTube creators, right? So, from that perspective, not everybody is going to want to pay for that. So YouTube creators can still continue creating and focus on building a community, focus on being entertaining, focus on what value you bring to your community. And of course, as I always say and try to, really drill on every video that I give on my channel, storytelling is super important. No one can emulate your unique story. AI cannot emulate your unique story. So as long as you're telling your story, you will win it over an audience. You will find an audience that wants to hear what you have to say and every single video that you create, because your story resonates with them through an emotional impact. And that is something that AI cannot do. Okay, so on a personal note, in terms of my story, why I created Blue Lotus Films, why I got started with video production, I think it's appropriate to mention today is September 11th. I was in New York City on September 11th, and I will never forget that day. My body never forgets that day. I was very fortunate enough, not to have lost anyone, not to have been, super close to the scene at the World Trade Center, but I was in Manhattan on 9/11. And on that day, it was obviously super stressful. I was working at a television company, and lots of emotions coming up. But what happened for me on that day is I really just saw, this life is short. And I decided during that moment, during that 24-hour traumatic experience, that I wanted to create videos that impacted people and bring more light and more love into the world. And so I made the decision to leave corporate media so that I could really focus on serving companies that matter to me and making documentary films. So I never looked back. I'm super glad that I continued on that path. So again, sharing your story, super important. All right, so let's go into a little bit more what it said in this article by The Atlantic. And again, I am going to gift anyone watching my channel, I'm going to gift you this article. So you'll have a link in the description. You will not have to sign up for The Atlantic. I think this information is super important to pass on to creators. So look for the link in the description and you can read this entire article. And I will try to post over the next month or so any other articles that come up. Be happy to share them and gift them to all of you so you can stay updated. Okay, so what this article continues to say is that there are many different companies. It says many major tech companies have used these data sets to train AI, according to research papers I've read and AI developers I've spoken with. The group includes Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, NVIDIA, Runway, ByteDance, Snap, and Tencent. I reached out to each of these companies to ask about their use of these data sets. And again, the data set just means these are potential videos that could train AI. It doesn't mean that all of the videos were 100% used to train AI. It just means it's a collection of the data the companies were interested in. And the article continues, only Meta, Amazon, and NVIDIA responded. All three said they respect content creators and believe that their use of the work is legal under existing copyright law. Amazon also shared that where video is concerned, it is currently focused on developing ways to generate compelling, high quality advertisements from simple prompts. Okay, so what we need to break apart in this paragraph here, it said, all three said they respect content creators and believe that their use of the work is legal under existing copyright law. So of course, these are huge companies. Of course, they've referred to their lawyers and they've looked into copyright law. They need to be able to defend themselves. But my question, and I think this is something that the Atlantic, this reporter or other reporters at the Atlantic could continue to investigate, what exactly do they mean by respecting creators? I want to know, I want to hear, because that sounds like very much a PR line. They're respecting content creators, but their actions are showing they're not respecting. Stealing creators' work. They know it's copyright protected, but yet they're stealing it anyway. Would we teach a kid in kindergarten, oh, if you do this, if you take this thing from little Joey, that's considered stealing. But go ahead and do it because, it's okay. You're being respectful. Like, that's the logic here. And so I want to hear a lot more from these AI companies. How are they going to continue to respect creators in the future? Because so far their actions have shown, well, we're going ahead. We're the Wild West and we're going ahead with AI. We're not asking anybody for permission. And so, again, it's going to be unfolding. This is a story that's unfolding, and we're just going to have to see, how do they defend themselves? How do they continue to work with creators? Now, some of the companies are working with creators. Like I said, Trovio is a company that licensed to AI companies, licenses any creator's work. And I'll put the information about Trovio in the chat. But this is just such a gray area right now and such an interesting time. There's also been the case of a advertising company receiving an award in Cannes, and then later on it was discovered that advertising company had used AI to create the video, so the award had to be taken back from this advertising company because they cannot receive an award from Cannes if their ad is created with AI. So they later apologized, saying there was a problem in the production process. So we're seeing really interesting responses from these companies that are just okay with using AI no matter what. Let me find one little other bit of information here so I can share with you. Okay. Yeah, I think, that pretty much sums it up of what I wanted to share with you all today. I would highly encourage you to go read this article, and it really breaks down all of the ways that, this is kind of a head-to-head collision that is coming with AI companies and creators. So leave a comment and let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts on what you think of this whole scenario, and let me know if you're able to read the article as well. I have a Let me know if you're able to read the article as well. I have a community page, and you can check out, you can post anything on my YouTube community. So you can go on there, share your thoughts, post a photo. If you go to my channel, you just click on the community page, and anybody can reply, anybody can post. So I really hope that you guys will stay plugged in with my community so we can continue discussing this topic. All right, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate all of you. Please like this video so more people can see it, and be sure to subscribe. I will see you on the next live stream. All right, have a wonderful day, everyone.